Hello.
Oh my goodness. It's finally no longer January. Can you believe it?
January, the month of 857 days.
Yeah, pretty much. What's happening?
Nothing.
You gonna show me your cute outfit you have on?
No, I wasn't planning on it, no.
Well, you wore it. I guess you are going somewhere.
I'm going out after.
That's true. You guys, I walked in last night and she was wearing a really cute outfit. Just show it to them. It's really cute.
I was just trying on my inventory. It's just a little jumpsuit.
It's a little jumpsuit. Look how cute it is.
Isn't that cute?
It's very cute. Anyway, welcome to the show. Happy Sunday, everybody. It's good to see all of you. January was indeed pretty rough. The last week of January was just as rough as the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you wanted to say something about our friend Sherry, in case there's anybody who...
in case there's anyone that doesn't know, Sherry Gall, G-O-L-L is the last name, was a friend that we had in our boss Facebook group, but also a viewer and a friend in real life. She had attended the Boss Reseller Remix, and we would...
Sorry, somebody said the the sound was low. I'm not trying to
I can't
be annoying. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Distracting the hell out of me.
Go ahead.
So anyway, what I wanted to say is Sherry has sadly passed away. She was a friend of ours that lived in Idaho and one of our viewers. And I just wanted to acknowledge that in case anyone didn't know her. She was known for being a huge fan of peanuts, like Snoopy peanuts. And yeah, sorry, I can't concentrate. You've been fucking around with this
because people
time.
Can't hear. They're saying sound, please. So I'm not trying to. I'm sorry.
Then you should have said don't talk about it.
Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to just continue.
No, I'm done.
Sorry, guys. Okay, Lori can hear fine. Sorry, it's just I wasn't trying to distract you, and I was worried that nobody could hear you, but it's just Sherry was a very sweet person, and she was very much connected to our community. Mm-hmm. And although she lived by herself in Idaho, so she didn't have much in-person support in relationships.
The majority of her friends were online friends.
Yeah.
She was very, very alone.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you knew Sherry, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for you to hear this way. If you were not friends with her on Facebook or friends with me, you may not have known. So yeah. I'm sorry to tell you this way. That's not the best way to hear things like that.
But with that said, we do want to say that it's super important that you tell the people in your lives that you love them. Mm-hmm. And that you're there for them. I think, for a lot of people, this business can be very, very lonely. And, there are a lot of people, we talk about this all the time, in this kind of work, it's a very lonely kind of job. But it also is one of those jobs that a lot of times people have because maybe they have a harder time working a regular job. Maybe you have mental health issues or, any number of different reasons why you might do this kind of work. And so it's even more important that we are here for each other mm-hmm. and pay attention to our friends and their lives and what's going on, because sometimes people aren't the best at letting you know that they need help.
Or communicating when they need help. So definitely reach out to your people. Yeah. That's, all I have to say about that. And I hope Sherry is at peace.
Yeah. With that said, there were a lot of people that have been very much trying these last couple of months. Sherry had kind of dropped off the radar and wasn't responding. And so there were many people in her life that cared about her a lot. Mm-hmm. And we're really trying to get a hold of her and, help her. And that makes it even more difficult when you are not in the same city with someone and you can't physically go track them down. But there were a lot of people that loved her very, very much.
Yep.
So anyway, just adds to kind of the difficulties of this year, this last month. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to our friend Liz, who lost her baby, their dog Kenai. she's been sick for a few years, but they were able to keep her going, and she was doing okay. But finally, time ran out this last week, and just we just lost our Luna, so it's just really really sad.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna start crying
Again? Jeez.
No, I'm not, but it's just really rough. However, I do want to say that our friend Laura, I say, single-handedly saved January. A couple of months ago, she had witnessed someone abusing their dog out in public, and she reported them.
More than once.
Yeah, more than once, but the second time was able to get it on video, reported him, he got arrested, it was a whole big thing.
She had to testify about it.
Had to go through the court system, all this stuff. The dog got taken away, and on the 31st, I don't know when it happened, but on the 31st, she was able to find a picture of the dog with his new adoptive parents. And so he has been rescued and now is in a new home, and hopefully it's the beginning of his amazing life. And so for that one dog, his whole life changed in January. So I'm just hoping now.
And Laura did that.
And Laura did that, exactly.
Saved.
Wizard, is that Wizard's the name of the dog?
Yep.
Wizard saved the month. Yes, you got to take those little things.
Got to take the wins where you can find them, for sure. And I see Frankie there in the chat, just in case anyone was not aware. Frankie is a licensed mental health therapist, and I'm sure he's used to hearing from a lot of people that are not always in good places and good spaces. So, talk to your friends, talk to the people you can, get help if you're able to. And if you're not able to get professional help, at least reach out to your friends and family, because we would much rather deal with and talk to a sad, struggling friend than have to talk about burying you. Yeah. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Anyway, so we're going to try to start the show off with a little bit more positive stuff. As you guys know, we are just over 5 weeks away, I think now, from the Boss Reseller Remix.
Yep.
And we are super excited about all of our speakers and all of the content that's going to be coming to you. Tommy, you better get on getting your ticket. I haven't seen your ticket come through yet, because we know you're not going to miss it.
We will have the schedule up later this week, probably towards the end of the week. The full schedule, the days, the speakers, the titles of the sessions.
Yep, so you'll know exactly what the sessions are. You already know what the speakers are, and we've talked a bit about what the sessions are going to be like, but you'll have the actual title of the sessions and a little spell out on the schedule, which will be nice. So you can plan your day around that. Yep. Most people end up coming and staying for the whole day. We give you lots of breaks and snacks. So I'm so glad you live close enough to drive too, Kathy. I'm excited that you're coming. We almost were in Tucson. We were supposed to go to a wedding last weekend, but we did not.
We didn't want to leave our dogs.
We didn't want to leave the dogs so soon after losing one. So we did kind of, sent a gift instead. But yeah, Mary, just so you guys know, Mary and our friend Mike have a brand new YouTube channel. I think we talked about it briefly last week. We went on their show last week and talked about the remix a bit. Their channel is just to be talking about community and reselling and community events, which is really cool. So that they were kind enough to have us on and talk about the remix. And yeah.
That's pretty much it.
That's all I got. That's all I got for housekeeping.
Yep. So I titled today's show "Taking Control in 2025." Listen, like we've been saying, January's been rough. Doesn't seem like things are going to change much for the better anytime soon. Who knows? But the reality is, you can't really control what happens to you necessarily, but we do have control over kind of how we react to it, what we do moving forward. And so I'm manifesting some things. So hopefully we can have a good year. I don't know. What do you think? Can we do that?
I think we can work on it.
You've got some exciting things on the horizon.
We'll talk about it at the end of the show.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later, but there's exciting things coming up. So hopefully, I don't know, could be an awesome year. This is the year you turn 50. Shh. This is the year you can wear tiny little vintage denim jumpsuits.
That's true.
This is the year that, I don't know, we're going to do all kinds of different stuff. Who knows?
Who knows what's going to happen this year? I'm excited. In spite of what feels like a bit of a doomsday out in the world right now. I realize that the world is pretty heavy, and for a lot of us, it's heavier than it is for some. And it just is. So one thing that we can do is control the people that we surround ourselves with, the media and the social media that we consume, and how it affects our mental health. And talking to and surrounding yourself with like-minded people is very important. I'm not saying put yourself in a bubble. We don't ever want to live in a vacuum and not be aware of other people. But sometimes removing yourself from negativity is what you need to do.
Be around kind people and be kind.
Yeah. Our puppy play date went pretty well last week. We took Ripley. Katy.
Ripley was so Vikki didn't go because she was too worried that she would be too anxious and make the dogs anxious, which was definitely going to be the case. Ripley actually did better than I thought she would. She was shaking the whole time going over there because speaking of bubbles, she kind of lives in a bubble here. So she was super nervous going over there. And then we got there and their two dogs were, especially one of them was barking nonstop. And I was like thinking Ripley was going to like freak out. And she actually surprised. She was nervous, but she was more curious than nervous. So she was running all. She'd never been in this house before. She was running all around the house, sniffing stuff, getting snacks, getting treats, trying to play. But actually, one of the dogs was kind of was more interested in his toy, and then the other one was terrified of her, so he just barked a lot.
But she wasn't afraid.
But she actually did. She actually did really, really well, and she was not as terrified as I was worried she would be. She was actually very brave. And was able to set aside any fears she had in order to get some cheese. So she did okay. So we'll continue with that.
And we'll just say a little bit. Katie's going to get mad at me for saying this. There's a possibility, a very strong possibility, that we will have a new puppy in our home right after the remix.
Well, let's put it this way. We're definitely going to be getting a puppy sometime after the remix. Absolutely. But we have one in particular, a rescue mom who had just had puppies like 5 weeks ago. Jody helped us connect with her, and we might get the one female out of the 4 puppies.
We've already expressed our interest. I just don't know that we're a sure thing yet.
Yeah.
And it's a 5-week-old, well, it will be like
some sort of little Chihuahua mix.
It's Chihuahua.
Like
cream-colored Chihuahua little girl.
We don't know what she's mixed with because
they don't know who the dad is.
They don't know who the dad is, so who knows? But what we know of her, she's very, very cute. So we'll see. But she's a little rescue puppy, and if it all goes the way we hope, then we should be able to get her right after the remix, and we will see. They have a really cool way they do things where we would get her as a foster. When we get her until she goes through like the rest of her vaccinations and gets spayed, and then we decide if we want to keep her, which obviously we would.
This is the reason why I don't foster. I don't foster kids. I don't foster dogs. I'd have a house full of both. I can't give them back.
I think that it's more a matter of whoever takes the dog in as a foster has time to decide that maybe they don't want, because there's so many people who think they want a puppy, they think they want a dog, they get it, and then they regret it and they realize they can't handle it or they're not equipped to take care of a dog. Obviously we know what we're getting ourselves into, but we're just very, very, very hopeful. We won't have her at the remix. We won't get her. If we do, we won't get her until after the remix. So
because we won't have enough time to be home with her and bond and teach her to be potty trained and everything.
And she won't be ready by until then anyway. So
she'll be ready. She'll be ready right around that time. But we're specifically waiting until after.
So anyway, that is what it is. Let's go ahead.
Finders Flippers Resale Podcast said we just got a kitten. She thinks she's a puppy and terrorizes the dog.
That's funny. And older cat. Poor old kitty.
That's okay.
That's all right. All right. So let's go ahead and get into our show. We break it into 3 parts. The first part, we look at our numbers, our real numbers over the last week across all of our platforms. We break down the costs, the fees, the shipping, the cost of goods. Middle part of our show, we look at our sales highlights. Not that they're very good this week. And then the last part of the show, we talk about our goals, what we tried to accomplish this last week, if we were able to do that, or if we failed miserably, I don't know. And then, talk about what we might want to do this next week and in the future. And we invite you guys to come along and tell us what your goals are as well. So Did you have anything else
That
you
was
wanted
very
to
good.
say?
No, what I wanted to say is I did also do a quick Instagram live with my friend Sammy Davis, who is one of the speakers at the Remix. I did that this morning. So if you wanted to go to the Reseller Remix Instagram page, it has been linked there so you can watch
Has it been linked there?
Well, she
Or it's
sent
linked
you
on-
the invite to link it. Did you accept?
I didn't see any invite.
Well, then I suggest you accept.
Okay, well, you can go to Vicky's Instagram right now, or whatever, for sure, because she's,
Yeah, it's LVPinkPeacock. It's there.
yeah, I did not see any link. I apologize.
So you can see a little interview, which actually gives you a little bit more in depth about the topics and
that's true.
speakers.
Yes. Hint, hint. All right, let's go ahead and look at our numbers. Yeah, this last week, especially the last, 3 or 4 days, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but Vicky and I both have experienced eBay just going, whew.
Well,
And,
last
like-
week it's 0 to 0, right? I had a great week
I
last
know.
week. I did about almost $4,000 in sales.
Yeah. And
across the
you said you've had a
platforms.
good day today on eBay, but the last
I've
few
had a good day
days-
today. Today I've done about 450, 500 between eBay and Poshmark. So
But before that, you were at like $400 for the whole week or something. Or at least as far as your payout goes. But anyway, it's been real quiet on eBay.
ooh, and I just realized Finders Flippers Resale Podcast. Sorry, I just realized that was Stuart White. Sorry. Hi, Stu. I didn't realize that was you because you were coming up under the podcast name. I hope you and Amy get to make it back to the Remix at some point. You keep having daughters get married and having babies and all that
knock it off.
stuff. Come on now.
All right, let's look at my numbers here. Yeah, not good. 19 eBay orders, 12 Etsy, 4 Poshmark, 3 Grilled Macari Depop, for a total of 38 outgoing orders. eBay, you see, have finally dropped down below 1,000, 823.48. Real rough on the old eBay. Etsy actually did all right. It did better than last week with 529.13. Poshmark, it's okay, 118, and then that's Grailed and Macari together. Bring it up to $92. Total gross sales, $1,562.61. Shipping, $165.72. You can see the cost of goods, $110. You can see the breakdown of the fees there. Gross average sale price, $41.12. So I did hit my goal of 40 and above, and then my net average sale price, $29.42. So just kind of squeaked by this week. Hopefully this next week is going to be better. But I don't know. I will say this week I had been behind. I usually do all my cross posting like the day after. So like I'll list for the day, and then the next morning, first thing I do is I cross post all of my stuff from the day before, or I'll do it at the end of the day. But I pretty much keep up with it every day. Since we went to Boston at the beginning of January, I hadn't done any cross posting, and so I was kind of behind. And when I finally went to go catch up, I decided, you know what, I don't really feel like cross posting to Mercari or Grailed or Depop. My sales there are so negligent. I was just like, why am I going to waste?
Negligible.
Whatever.
Not negligent.
Yes, Mom. That why would I bother spending the time when I can just real quick cross post over to Poshmark, where I actually do usually get decent sales at least every week. And yeah, because since Mercari went back to their old ways, my sales have completely dropped off. They were kind of steady there, but now it's like, so it's really hard to stay motivated to actually list to those platforms. I'm not going to shut them down. I'm going to leave the stuff as it is, and maybe I'll get back into it later. But right now, I'm like, I don't really care. I'm going to focus on the 3 platforms where I'm actually making some money. So, all right.
Yeah.
Let's see. What you got?
Like I said, 0 to 0. I didn't do much better than you. 26 orders on eBay, 9 on Etsy, 3 on Poshmark. I've had nothing on Macari. I think I've had 1 sale on Macari or 2 sales the entire month of January. So Macari for me is I'm about to get rid of Macari. So 38 total, and I already got rid of Depop, so we got to change that.
Okay.
38 total outgoing orders, just over $1,000 on eBay for the week. Terrible. $465 on Etsy, which is fine. That's a decent week on Etsy, and $98 on Poshmark for a total of $1,612. $172 in shipping, and then you see the breakdown of the fees. My cost of goods under $100, which is always fine, but my net $1159.65. Gross average sale price just over $42.
Meh.
Not a good week.
Yeah,
Not a good week.
we were pretty close.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and just jump right into our sales highlights. What do you got going
There,
on
I
here?
mean, I don't have anything extraordinarily exciting, but I have brought this up once before, and I just wanted to talk about it again. I find I do very, very well with bolero jackets. Bolero jackets you find very easily, and they're very lightweight. This doesn't have to be part of a set. I find them in velvet and in lace, and every time I find them, they sell fairly quickly. This has been listed for maybe a month, and I paid probably $1 for it. It's very lightweight. It sold for $45. Nothing fantastic. Doesn't have anything to do with the brand or anything. It's just in general the style. The style of these little jackets. Women like to wear these over dresses. It's like a little cover up. So they do pretty well, and I enjoy having them, you know, for sale in my store. Whether they're like black velvet, like I said, or lace. And this is the first one I've had in a while that's an off-white color. Silver does really well too.
I'm controlling myself from singing the Black Velvet song.
Please don't.
How dare you?
Please don't. And yeah, so it does. It's just one of those things that if you pick them up, they will sell.
Hi, Clara. Clara's here from List Perfectly, popping in, saying hello.
Hello, Miss Clara. Looking
Hello.
forward to seeing you in a few weeks. It's been a long time.
It's been forever. All right, let's go to my first one. So, you know, prices have definitely come down, everything across the board. So it's really, for me anyway, it's about trying to get that volume, trying to get stuff to sell quickly. This is, I don't even know how you pronounce it.
Bonhomme.
If Vicky remembers, I just got this maybe a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember what store we went to. I think it was just like Goodwill or something. And I picked this up for a few bucks, and I sold it for $35. I listed it this week.
That looks like something Kid and Play would wear in the 90s.
There you go. But if you look at comps for this brand, $35 for this plus shipping is pretty good. So I was very happy to sell it very quickly. And I paid a few bucks for it. So really trying to focus more on pricing stuff to move and try to get a little more volume. Things
right.
just
You
are
all
not
know that
selling
we
for high prices.
both love vintage, right? You know we both love vintage. That's where our hearts lie, and we know vintage well. Unfortunately, the vintage market is entirely different than it was even a year ago. Never mind 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. You're going to be getting about 30% of the prices that you got 3 years ago. On almost everything, and you'll have a rarity that something will come through, but you really have to figure out ways to push your marketing to try to get a higher sell-through rate, because you're not getting the dollars for the items that you used to.
And especially for me, for the most part, I'm not selling super unique stuff. I'm selling mostly t-shirts, sweatshirts, things like that, and there's a lot of it out there. And so so for me, it's like I can definitely focus more in on how do I bring my sell-through rate up. I honestly, I have no end to sourcing. I really don't. I have a lot of stuff available to me.
Plenty out there.
And so gone are the days where I'm going to be selling things for super high prices. I don't want stuff sitting around anymore. I want to move it. Let's keep things moving and make some money.
Exactly. This one is more of an example just to show that even the basic vintage sweaters are still worth picking up if it's made well. Look for quality, look for cashmere, look for wool, look for 100% cotton. Yes, acrylic still sells well, but we know acrylic isn't expensive and it doesn't feel as nice. This is just one of those heavyweight vintage wool sweaters, probably scratchy. I'm not a scratchy wool kind of person, but lots of people like them. They wear well. And as long as it's not covered in moth holes, then they're worth picking up. I think I picked this up at the bins, so I probably paid maybe $2 for it. And it sold fairly quickly for $45.
I was going to say, how long did you have it listed?
Not very long.
Yeah. All right, next up for me, I think I've shown a couple of these so far. So, I don't know when it was, a couple months ago, we had gone to some what store is that called? Burlington. Mm-hmm. We went to Burlington and I picked up 3 of these shirts. They weren't all the same. I think I had 2. They were all kind of similar though, kind of this gold yellow color.
Hideous, like fake Versace. It looks like the Versace medallion,
for
but
sure.
It's not.
For sure. And I paid they were $5 a piece. And you'll see at Burlington, especially, you'll see this brand there. And they do a lot of polos and different things like that. But these t-shirts, especially these ones like this, that look like,
they look like they're Versace.
They look like the Versace kind of thing. They actually do sell pretty well. So I paid like $5 a piece for them, and I've already sold the other two, and I sold this one for, I think I got an offer for $36. So yeah, you can see 2 sold. So the other one I think I sold for 35. Retail arbitrage is not dead. You just kind of know what to look for and know what to, probably $5 would be my limit of what I would spend on this. But it is nice to see that I've sold all 3 of these relatively quickly. It made some money. Yeah.
So Kathy asks, is that Medusa? And then before Clara had something about Medusa. It's not, because it's the male.
Zeus.
It's Zeus. It's a male version of Medusa. The Versace logo has Medusa. So it's similar to that. I think this is just really made to look a lot like Versace, but not quite.
Yep. All right. Next up for you.
This is nothing fantastic. This is just a one-off of wallpaper, a roll of wallpaper. So, whenever I find these, I found at the bins, by the way, and it probably cost me $5 because it was a little bit heavy and big. It wasn't listed very long, maybe 2 months or so. It sold for $65 plus shipping. But when you find rolls of wallpaper that are unused, or big rolls especially, like this would cover an entire wall, like at least one wall is an accent wall. And I know that the textured wallpaper and accent walls are super hot right now. So one of the things I looked up was just the brand. And if you look up the brand, this was an expensive brand of wallpaper.
All right.
So it was easy. It's easy to ship. It's easy to photograph in. It didn't take very long to sell. So just another tip, if you find it somewhere, garage sales, somebody's leftover rolls of wallpaper left over from a project, they're worth picking up for sure.
I see Kristen hanging out there in the chat. Liz, the rural squirrel, what's happening? All right, next up, my Bernie 2020 zip-up hoodie.
I'm surprised you didn't keep that one.
Well, first of all, it's too big for me. What are you pointing at? And it's blue. You pointing at my water? And it's blue, and I only wear black. Keep up, dear.
So sorry.
Anyway, this was actually grabbed. I can't remember if it came from the Goodwill bins or the Salvation Army bins, but I know that Ryan Roots actually grabbed this and gave it to me at one of those places. So I've only had it listed for, I don't know, maybe a month and a half.
Yeah, they were here
Not
in
even
November.
that, because I've only had this listed for a little over a week. Because I had stacked up all that stuff, and I think I listed most of the t-shirts first and then moved on to the hoodies and stuff. And so this just got listed very recently, so probably only took a couple weeks to sell. And I sold it for the price you see there, $41.99.
I want to know if did you send it with the picture of Bernie Sanders with his arms crossed and his mittens, like the super angry one that went viral in 2020? Because that was...
No, I did not.
That would have been ideal.
Yeah, it would have been. But anyway, it sold very quickly. I like to pick up political stuff like this. But, I mean, Bernie is very beloved by a lot of people. What's up, Poochie's Pickers? What's happening? But anyway, that was a good sale. $41.99 plus $8.95 shipping. So I was very happy with that.
Hey, Poochie's Pickers. All right. So we'll talk about this a little bit more at the end of the show. But you guys know that I've bought out several sellers' entire inventory that have gotten out of the business or that have moved over the years. And this happens to be one. You can tell by the photos that I didn't take these photos. However, because I have List Perfectly, I was able to take every one of their active listings and import them into my List Perfectly catalog, and then just export them out into my platforms. Now, if you're thinking of doing this, all you need is for one of you to have List Perfectly, whether it's the person you're buying it from, or the person that is, or yourself, because it is an invaluable and easy way to acclimate and have all of the inventory already done. If they have the photos done, if they have the listings done, it's not something you need to go and change your things. Now, this is not, I wouldn't have taken these photos, right? They're not how I would take them, but no. It's good enough. Again, one of the things I learned from Trish, the 80-20 rule, 80% of the time have it be good enough, because give it up. If I paid $3 a piece for this girl's inventory and it came with all the listings,
yeah,
it's good enough. I've had this for about a year.
And like you said, only one of you needs to have List. Well, you need to have List Perfectly because you're the ones doing it. But they don't have to have List Perfectly. You just need to be able to access their store. So whether it's eBay or Etsy, it just has to be a platform.
They have to give you the logons.
It has to be a platform that List Perfectly actually works with. and you log into their store, and then you can upload all of their listings into your list perfectly, and then you go from there to put them into your store.
I have done this 3 different times now that I have purchased out entire inventories from people, and I'm about to do it for the 4th time coming up in the next couple of months. So it's really an easy tool in order for you to import all of this stuff for sure.
Yeah, you're doing it for the 4th time. Only it's going to be the biggest. I know you're going to get into it more later, but it's going to be like 4,000 listings. So
Correct.
It's going to be quite almost doubling the size of your store. So it's going to be pretty incredible.
Yep, and yet, Susie, I did put vintage 80s. I always do that. So at some point here, I have reworked this to change the title because that's my title. And that's how I would have created the title. But I don't think that was how the title was that came to me. In my opinion, it was more important to get the listings up and get stuff selling than to go in and tweak every single listing.
Yeah.
And then I tweaked them as I went along. I've sold probably 95% of the stuff that I purchased from her.
Yeah.
I always put vintage in the decade first. That's how I create my titles. And then it's the article or the brand, then article if there is a brand. If it's a brand that's a vintage brand that is irrelevant, I don't even put the brand in the title. I don't use the real estate for it. Nobody's searching for it. I'll have it in the description.
Well, and if it's in the item specifics, it's searchable anyway. So if somebody is searching specifically for that brand.
Right.
All right. Next up for me, I just want to say Jesus is still here with us, guys. I've had great times in the past selling my Jesus tees, my Christian tees. They don't sell for as much anymore. If I want to move them out the door, I do have to go a little bit lower. Well, it really does depend on like the design. This is pretty basic. This is like, obviously like a take on a Gap t-shirt. Like it says God answers prayers, Y2K shirt. But I did sell it for $32.39. I got this, I don't know, sometime during this last year, I got a bunch of Jesus tees, from Jennifer Goodale. She knows how I like my Jesus tees, so pretty much every batch I get from her, there's at least a handful of fun Jesus tees.
That's funny.
And I just picked up like 170 t-shirts from her. I got 2 big boxes full of t-shirts, and there are some fantastic Jesus tees in there.
Those just came in 2 days ago. All your
Yep. I'm in the process of washing all of them and getting them ready to take pictures. But anyway, so I paid $5 for this shirt and sold it for $32.39. So not a huge sale, and I do have free shipping still on my Etsy. So I made a little bit of money, but nothing crazy, but still fun.
I do see our friend Bill in the chat there. It's nice to see you.
Hey, Bill.
Okay, so you guys know I sell a lot of linens. I sell a lot of blankets. This is a vintage 80s bedspread, just what you see there. It very, very, very much resembles the Polo Ralph Lauren Polo Bear. Mm-hmm. If you Google Lens this, you can find it somewhere referenced as Polo, sometimes not. I did not put that as the brand because there is no way to confirm. It's fabric that someone created and turned into a bedspread. Now, could it have been Ralph Lauren? Sure. I was not able to find any definitively, and I didn't really need a Vero.
Sometimes you can, when you do the Google Lens, sometimes you can find like, oh, you see this pattern, the only listings you see anywhere, it's a specific brand. But first, I have a question though. What's that dark spot?
It's my reflection of my phone. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth hole.
There it is again.
Shut your mouth hole.
Ah!
Don't make fun of my photos. It sold, didn't it? Good enough. Good enough.
All right, anything else?
No. I see. Oh, Pam's in the chat. Pam,
Hi,
Restated
Pam.
Threads. We never see you in the chat. She was just messaging with me a little while ago. Nice to catch live here. And Stuart says, any religious stuff sells well for me. I agree.
Yeah,
whether
absolutely.
It's clothing, figurines, whatever. It doesn't matter what religion it is. It does really well. Judaica, Buddhism, Hindu, Christian, all of it sells well.
I think one of my favorite t-shirts I just got from Jen is, because they do a lot of those parody t-shirts and stuff like that. It's a Twilight one.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a Twilight Christian shirt?
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's like, looks like it doesn't actually say Twilight. I can't remember what it actually says, but it's in the writing. So when you just glance at it, it's like, looks like it's a Twilight shirt, but it's actually a Jesus tee. So, all right. Next up for me.
I didn't say what I paid. Sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I took a $175 offer on that. It didn't sell for the $229 you saw. And I purchased that in Colorado, and our last, I think it was Colorado, or maybe it was Texas. Actually, I think it was Dallas, Texas. We went on our buy last year, end of last year. Okay. So it did take about a year to sell.
All right. Now this t-shirt, I'm fairly positive I got this from Jesse at Yesterday's Fits. I have so many different places I get stuff, and because I'm going higher volume now, sometimes I forget, guys, okay? I don't have as good of a memory to tell you where I got stuff, but I'm fairly positive because I think I remember he had 2 of them, but the other one was like not in as great of condition. So I only grabbed this one, but I've had it maybe 6 months. It's just
Where was he running for Senate? What state?
I don't know.
All
But
right.
anybody who's like looking for him maybe would know. I don't remember.
Okay.
Maybe I have it said. Maybe I said it somewhere in my. Probably not. I don't know. I'm
No.
horrible. I'm
You
terrible.
are horrible.
But I sold it for $44.09. I probably paid like $5 for it.
Susie
but
said it was Nevada. She's
there
quick on
you
that
go.
Google.
There you go.
Then you definitely got it from Jesse.
Yeah. So, yeah, but it's just an awesome, I love the style of shirt. I know Vicky likes this style of shirt. It's kind of this is like a cross between a baseball tee and a ringer tee.
I love them both.
It doesn't have the raglan cut, but because it's got kind of the 3/4 sleeves are slightly longer than short sleeve, it still has that similar look. And it's a great shirt, whether you know who this dude is or not.
That's
Come
true.
on. Who knows?
It's true. It doesn't say anything offensive, so I don't know who the guy is. I probably would have worn it anyway just because it was a cool looking shirt.
I'm like, is that a person or is that some sort of like
Yeah.
pharmaceutical t-shirt?
Who knows?
No.
It does kind of look like a pharmaceutical name.
Just take Laxalt, but beware of anal leakage. All right. Next up for you.
This is a bins find. I paid about $3 at the bins. It's not a very big pillow. It's only 12 by 12, so it was able to ship in a little poly mailer. And it's Katha Diddle is the brand. So if you were to look that brand up, you'll see that some of these pillows, a lot of these are embroidered pillows, tapestry pillows.
It's actually pronounced Diddle.
Whatever.
Just kidding.
I don't know
I
how
don't
it's
know.
pronounced. Neither do you. Shut your face. Anyway, they sell really, really well, and the bigger ones sell for even more money. So I think they're just these hand embroidered pillows. I don't know if it's cross stitch, needlepoint, whatever you call that, but they're really detailed and they're really cool. So I didn't pay very much. I got a couple of Christmas ones, and I got that one, and yeah, didn't take very long to sell. A couple of months, it sold for $50.
I just saw this comment from Tommy that he picked up a Christian tee 3 or 4 years ago because of me, and he still has it.
Tommy, that sounds like me.
I'm sorry, but that's Vicky too. She always says like that. I'll sell something over and over and over again, and she can't get rid of it.
I can't give
for
mine
life of
away.
her.
And it'll be the same thing that Katie has, and I'll list it the same way. I'll title it the same way. I'll have it listed for less money than
It's
her.
true.
I still can't sell it.
It's true. I don't know what to tell you.
So
Sorry
whatever.
about it. You can always send it to me. All right. Next up for me, speaking of having something for a few years, this Karate Kid shirt, I've had it for freaking ever.
All right, that's what's kids.
And I know it is. I'm aware it's kids. I had a price lower on my eBay. I'd gone through and repriced a bunch of stuff. So I definitely had it priced way too high. But I mean, come on, it's awesome. And if I had a little kid, I'd want to have them in like really cute little vintage
Oh,
t-shirts.
I would totally have my kid dressed in vintage. Yeah.
So I mean, I definitely would have taken way less than this. And Etsy's set up to take offers, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't get very many. Most of my sales are full price or sale. The
Yeah,
sale
for
price
sure.
on Etsy.
But so I was very happy to sell this for $62.99. I would have taken like $30 for it. But I had it for so long. But it's so freaking cute. Like how
It's really cute.
I'm surprised it didn't sell sooner, just because it's been 2 or 3 years now that Cobra Kai's been on.
At least 4.
Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't you want your little kid wearing a vintage T-shirt? I don't know. I think
Yes, your
3-year-old.
kids' clothes are vintage now, Kristen, just like my kids' clothes are vintage.
Yeah.
They do count. I actually already sold my daughter's clothes, so I sold all her vintage gymboree
Yeah.
and stuff like that years ago. I kept only a couple that she wanted to keep for her kids.
Tracy said she wants it, and I'm assuming she probably would dress one of her cats in it because it is a kid's shirt, right?
Probably so. Probably so.
All right, next up for you.
Okay, this came from a referral buy from our friends here, Jill and Mel, and I went and purchased a bunch of things from a woman that they used to do consignment with, and this was one of them. I paid on average $10 to $15. I think I paid $10 or $15 for this, and it sold for the price you see there, $91. It was the sale price on Etsy. Wasn't listed very long, maybe a month or two. Not a very well-known brand or anything like that. It was just a nice vintage clutch. Nicely made.
Very
Made in
nice.
Italy. Again, it's one of those, it's made in Italy. If it's made in Italy, made in Spain, made in Brazil, made in Germany, made in France, pay attention because it's generally better quality.
Can you please give Kristen a kick in the butt?
Yes, Kristen, go dig the Gymboree clothes out of the attic, please.
Come on. Come on. Knock it off. Make some money. All right. Next up is, I'm pretty sure I got this at the bins. I think I'd gotten a couple of different ones. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive. Is just this really cool Michael Goddard t-shirt, art tee, but it's from
The Vegas artist.
the Rio Casino art tee. And I sold it for $62.99. I think I've had this probably for about a year, so not a crazy amount of time, but I definitely, if I was listing this now, I kind of have like different tiers, pricing tiers, and I would have put it at the next one down if I was listing it now, which would be like $48.99 on Etsy, but then it goes on sale for like $44. So, but it's just a really cool shirt. It's a great graphic, and it was pretty much brand new.
Yeah, all of his stuff is really popular. It had its heyday in the late 90s, early Y2K, but he's still found there's still a couple of art galleries in Vegas that have his stuff highlighted. Just a Vegas artist, very known for doing the martini pictures. Every picture has olives.
Yep.
Just kind of funky stuff.
You can see it right there.
Yep.
There's the olive. Anyway, all right. Next up for you.
This actually, I'm not sure. I may have shown this the last time it sold. It sold twice.
Oh.
And this time it came back. The purchaser did not like the way it fit or didn't like the way it felt. I don't really know, but it came back, relisted it.
I mean, it's a freaking robe. How do you not like the way a robe fits?
I mean, I don't know.
All robes fit the same?
They kind of do. I don't know. But it came back. Whatever.
Okay.
And so I listed it. I listed it for a little bit more money, and it sold the second time. So
Nice.
This time it sold for the price you see there, the $91. This was a bins find as well. You guys know that I love sleepwear and robes, especially terry cloth, velvet, velour. Brand name doesn't matter, but it certainly doesn't hurt that this one was a designer brand name.
Do you remember how much you sold it for the first time around?
I do not. I think 75.
Okay. So
Wow.
at least I'm just curious.
Yeah, they didn't like it, so they paid return shipping, so I didn't lose anything.
There you go. There you go. All right, next up. Now, this shirt I've had for quite a while.
Oh, he's cute.
I don't know if you remember I had done that big bulk buy it was actually off of the website. That website, I feel like it starts with an F. We had looked at trying to get them as a sponsor, and I don't know why I can't think of the word for it, but it's a website that basically it's like a reselling website, but it connects like bigger companies to individuals that want to buy bales and stuff like that, wholesaling kind of thing. And so I had done that and bought, I think I spent like something ridiculous, like $2,000 for 200 shirts. Cause they averaged, it was $10 a piece. So this was once upon a time when that actually would work for me to do that. And I've definitely way more than made my money back on that. It was a lot of dead stock stuff. But it's been like a couple of years now, at least, maybe closer to 3. And some stuff has just taken forever and is probably priced higher than it should be anymore. But it's my one sale, my singular sale on Mercari this week is this Winnie the Pooh t-shirt. They actually reached out and they were like, is this really vintage or is it just like a reprint? I'm like, no, it definitely is vintage. This is like,
I mean, it's got a cute little graphic on it.
yeah, it's so cute. But I sold it for $52, paid $10,
I found
500
that
million years ago.
Out of all of the Disney characters, Winnie the Pooh is probably one of the most prolific and lowest selling.
Yeah.
I've just found that I rarely pick up Winnie the Pooh stuff anymore. It tends to not sell anywhere near as fast as the other characters.
I do feel like there's a tendency, and maybe it's just because of the nature of the characters and the story, it tends to be super cutesy. And I feel like, not that it needs to be dark by any means, but I feel like, because a lot of stuff is stuff like this, where it's very much like, most dudes are not going to be wearing this shirt. Now, I had that Eeyore shirt that I found at the bins that was an all over print that I ended up selling for $150. It was a really cool shirt, and that actually sold really well. But the stylistically, it wasn't so much as of a cutesy shirt, and I feel like a lot of the ones here are like all about friends and this and that.
Yeah. I rarely pick up Winnie the Pooh stuff just because it sits forever, unless it's kids. If it's a kids thing, or if it's a blanket or a comforter or something like that, that's different. But like clothing, adult clothing, and Winnie the Pooh stuff, meh.
Yeah, and Lori says Eeyore sells better. So anyway, but yeah, I was very happy to get this out of here. Yeah, poor Eeyore, just down in the dumps.
He is, poor Eeyore. This was one of my decent sales on Poshmark. Nothing special. It's not even vintage. It's not a vintage brand. It was just a nice looking, sweater, like sweater jacket. Not extremely thick. It was just a brand to keep an eye out for. It photographed well, and it has some nice colors. And this was a bins find, so I probably paid $3 to $4 based on the weight. Mm-hmm. And it sold same season I had listed it. I've listed it within the last 2 or 3 months anyway.
Yeah, nice. All right, next up, I don't remember where I got this. I think I got it at the bins, but I could not guarantee you. I may have gotten it in Colorado at the bins, but a lot of this stuff comes to Vegas as well, so I can't entirely be sure. But I don't think I paid more than $5 for it, but I do think I got it in Colorado, pretty sure. If I got it at the bins there, then I only paid like $2 for it. Mm-hmm. But sold it for $40 on the old Poshmark, and I just think it's a really cool sweater. I like the red, white, and blue. It's Royal Gorge, Colorado.
It looks like it should be a Pepsi sweatshirt.
I know, kind of, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's a great little
I think a Codigan. Codigan's a good word for that,
Codigan.
Tommy.
That's funny.
Codigan is a good word for that.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's right, Liz. If I got that Jesus tea, I'd get my $70 for it.
Probably so. Okay, so this is one of those brands that used to be very high-end designer handbags, got into clothing. Kate Spade. Kate Spade stuff is still nice. It's still quality. It's still made well. Retail pricing on it is ridiculous, right? It's one of those brands that the resale does not come anywhere close to the retail value, and generally I don't pick it up, because once you find a high-end brand that goes to Marshalls or TJ Maxx, that means it's done. That means you're not going to find it having a good resale value once you can pick it up for $20 brand new the next year closeout. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those brands. However, I found this at the bins, and if I pick it up cheap enough, I'm still going to sell it, don't get me wrong, but don't spend a lot for it knowing what the retail price is what I'm trying to say, I think. Yeah. So I picked this up at the bins, probably paid under $2 because it was under a pound, and it sold fairly quickly for $60, which is a really good price for pre-owned Kate Spade. The only reason why I think it did sell that well is it wasn't a super tiny size, but also it was a very cool looking party skirt. Yeah. This
might have just gotten in front of the right person at the right time.
Yep. So I just thought it was a cute one. So again, even talking about Kate Spade was just to let you know, if you can buy it at Marshalls or TJ Maxx, it's definitely not one of the brands that retains its resale value. Now the for sale price on this was probably between $200 and $300 initially. Yeah. And it's never going to be worth picking it up to sell it for inexpensive. So. Yeah.
Liz says, I've literally dug a shirt out of my trash can, shipped it to Katie, and she sold it for $40. That's true. That's very true. I remember that one. It was super stained, and then I tried to get the stains out, which did not work, and I still sold it for a good price. Anyway, all right. Last one is this really awesome New Orleans sweatshirt. I think I got this from Jesse. Could have gotten it from the bins. Not entirely sure. At most, I paid like $10 for it, but it's just a really cool sweatshirt, awesome graphic on it, and I sold it for $46 on the old Poshmark. Speaking of Poshmark, I think I've had this for quite a while too. I had it for too long, for sure. I don't know why it took so long to sell, because it is pretty much one of the coolest destination sweatshirts ever.
It is pretty cool. Do you know that 2 years ago today we were in New Orleans?
I know.
We were there for Corey's birthday. It was her 50th birthday 2 years ago. It's not her birthday today, but it's this week. Yeah. We were in New Orleans before we went on our cruise.
Yeah, absolutely. What was I going to say? Oh, so last week I was telling you guys one of the sales I showed from my Poshmark was a Pendleton board shirt, and it was my very first time having somebody open up a case, and they said that like it was much smaller than what I said. I had measured it to be 23 inches across the chest. They said I was 21 inches, which there's no way. Anyway, they'd opened a case, and Poshmark did decide in their favor. Bastards. However, as of, I think, 2 days ago, so it was like 6 days ago that the case was decided against me. And then like day before yesterday, I got a message. There's a message when you look at the case or whatever. It says that there still has been no movement on their label. I don't know how much more time. I'm hoping that if it hasn't shown any movement by tomorrow. I mean, I thought you said that they only have like a couple of days.
They only give them a few days, yeah.
Well, it's been like 6 or 7. It's been like 7 days
Well,
now.
if you escalate it, then the buyer gets the reminder.
Well, I don't need to remind
So
them.
I would leave it alone and let it close back and give your money back if they don't send it.
I'm hoping that they're going to mess up and...
Yeah, that's happened.
Maybe that's kind of jerky of me, but...
No, I do the same thing. We always hope when someone opens a case on eBay that they forget to mail it in, because it happens.
Yeah. So
And then it
I
closes.
don't know, but there's apparently been no movement, and of course now it's the weekend, so who knows? Maybe they went out and took care of it yesterday. We'll see. But it was like an $80 sale, guys. Come on, I want my money. It's just sitting there waiting for me. Give it to me.
All right. So we're going to talk about like goals and things that we're doing for this coming into this year. Well, I've got a lot of things that's
we
coming
do.
up for
So
me.
you know, I had said the week before last, I had said like, you know, being kind of overwhelmed and with everything that's been happening, and you know, traveling back to Boston and just the holidays, and it's been a rough last couple of months, especially month and a half, that I was kind of giving myself some grace and not holding myself to the whole 10 listings a day, but I also didn't want to completely fall off the wagon or anything like that. And so it was more about making sure I was getting something listed every day. And my goal was like at least 5. So I did keep that up this last couple of weeks mostly. But this last week, definitely, I've been doing about 5 to 8 listings a day, but still doing my seven listings per day. 7 days a week. I did it every single day. 5 to 8 listings a day, and I'm gonna keep up on that, keep it going, and I'm hoping to kind of get myself back up to my 10. Because I do want to get back into that, but I've just been kind of giving myself a little grace, and I was able to do that.
We are coming up on the remix, and we have a lot of work to do in the next few weeks.
Yeah,
as
true.
things we head into everything, doing all the printing and all that kind of stuff. So that does take up. Obviously, you guys know that does take up some time. So we'll be doing that over the next few weeks, focusing on all the things going forward.
I would say until the remix is over, I'm just going to maintain this, like, okay, I'm going to try to do at least 5. I'll go for more if I can, but at least 5. I just don't want to, you know, sometimes, and this has happened in the past, it's like when things are overwhelming and there's so much going on, it's very tempting to be like, I'm just going to skip it today, or just kind of let it slide a little bit.
Oh, that's me. When I've got too much to do, it's a lot easier for me to shut down and do nothing.
So I'm gonna try to I'm basically giving myself a break a little bit, but I also want to maintain at least some movement and some activity, and so that's what I'm gonna focus on, is getting that at least 5, minimum 5, but no more than 8, just because I want to kind of keep those. But like I said, I got like 170 t-shirts from Jen. I already have been having, went through it all yesterday and today. I've got the laundry going. I'm gonna have everything prepped and ready for photography sometime after today's show, and I'll start working on my photos tonight because I don't have anything more to list. I did my listings for today. I think I did 6 listings today, but now I've got whole bunch that with this big chunk of inventory I got from Jen. It should carry me through. I don't know. I'd have to figure out how many days. 170 if I was doing a 10 a day would be 17 days. So it's probably more like 25 to 30 days worth of listings. So.
I think you've got a lot. I think you've got plenty.
Yeah.
So for me, I got over 300 swimsuits delivered that I purchased from a reseller friend. I have 300 swimsuits, all new with tags. That's getting folded into my inventory. The good thing about swimsuits is that I do not have I don't need to have my lister do them, because you don't really take measurements for swimsuits. Mm-hmm. So a lot of them I'm trying to pull stock photos where I can. And if I can't pull a stock photo, then it's like 3 or 4 photos super fast. and easy to list. I've been using List Perfectly and having it, use my Express Lister and have them create the listing for me. And basically, you just go in and tweak it. It's like 90% there when you use the lister, especially if you're not trying to get measurements. And if it's something as basic as a swimsuit, it reads all your tags and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes it reads the tags wrong and thinks it says it's a medium when it's a small or whatever.
Yeah.
The intelligence is only so much as it is, right? But you just review it, and like I said, it takes 90%, and then it's just me tweaking it. So it's pretty fast. I can bang out 10 photos and 10 listing, photographing 10 of those and listing 10 within an hour, if not faster. So super easy. Swimsuits, I don't do free returns. I do buyer pays on everything. I'm not going to change it for that category. I'll still do buyer pays, but I'm also, because I purchased them very inexpensively, I'm blowing them out at a very low price as well. These are swimsuits that are most of them retail over $100, and I'm listing most of them around 20 or so. So my plan is to get those selling on, Poshmark and eBay quickly. They're not vintage, so they're not going to go on Etsy. So there's that. Also, I still have my consignment client that is going to be getting a whole lot of fine jewelry over to me within the next week or so. And I'll be starting that on consignment. And then my big news is that I am flying out to New England at the end of April. I'll be flying into Boston, and I am taking all of the
beginning of May.
Well, I'm going the end of April, but I'll be there the first week of May as well.
Okay, well, I thought you had said like May 2nd or 3rd or something like that.
Yeah, I'm getting there a couple days before that.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll be taking all of Diane's inventory. Her family has entrusted me in taking her inventory across country, and I'll be taking all of her listings from List Perfectly, from her List Perfectly catalog, and transferring it to my List Perfectly catalog.
4,000
Over 4,000 listings. But I'll be packing up a U-Haul and driving cross country with Trish.
With Trish. They're road tripping, guys.
It's going to be a road trip, bringing it all home. And I'll be giving a percentage of the sales to Diane's Fearless Living Foundation. And that's my agreement with her family. And they seem to think that this is what Diane would have wanted, and I like to think so too, whether it was me or someone else, another reseller. She would want to see her legacy continue, and I'm happy to do it. It'll be emotional, I'm sure, but I'm also grateful that they've entrusted me with this, and it feels like something I can do to help.
I'm hoping it's not a Thelma and Louise 2.0. Because you will be going by the Grand Canyon, won't you? So that could go horribly wrong.
That's true. Yeah, and the fun thing is that obviously a road trip with Trish is going to be fun, going across the country. There's no question that we're going to have a lot of fun.
Well, Tommy, I don't know if I mentioned this in last week's show. I don't remember if I did or not. It's really funny that this happened because, one of the things I always tell Vikki is, like, don't suggest something to me unless you're ready for me to like, if I latch on to something, I'm latching on, right? So last week we were undecorating the house from Christmas, and we have this, we have a very large house. Now we use about 50% of the house for our business. Vikki's got an office, I've got an office, I've got a spare room that's also my inventory. There's another room that is Vikki's, mostly Vikki's, but I use it as well, some for shipping, and then of course the garages. So we take up a lot of space in this house for our business, but we also have like this big formal front living room. We have a big formal dining room, and then we have our family room, kitchen. Like, it's very big, and another spare bedroom. But the dining room doesn't really get a lot of action. And Vikki was saying something like, she's like, we don't even really use this. It's kind of a waste of space. She's like, if we lived in another house, like, I'd be fine with not even having a dining room. And as soon as she said that, I'm like, well, this is a really big room. We could use, like, if you don't care about having a dining room and you only use it like once a year when we're entertaining, why are we keeping it? It's like when she originally used to have 2 spare bedrooms. It's like, it's not being used more than once a year. It's a ridiculous waste of space when you're a reseller.
Do you see how this happens? How I used to have 2 spare bedrooms. I'm gonna used to have a dining room.
Okay, but to be fair, I only take up 1 small room for my inventory. Vikki takes up, it used to be a 2-car garage. Now it's 3. And she still is hurting for space.
Well, part of it is
And-
because the third garage in the 2.5 years, almost 3 years we lived here, is still not configured properly.
But it still is holding a lot of stuff. And I'm paying $160 a month to store our Christmas decorations in a storage unit. And so, yes, there's some luxuries that maybe you could think about giving up. So I was like, she said that, and I'm like, well, we could get rid of the storage unit, because our storage unit would literally fit in like a fifth of this dining room. It's a really big space.
Still probably not going to get rid of the storage unit.
We'll see.
Because now we have all the inventory coming.
We'll see. But anyway, so she was like, no, but I was keeping it in the back of my mind. Like, at some point, you can't complain about the cost of our house if you're not actually using all the space. Anyway, and so then as soon as this opportunity with this inventory came up, I was like, good thing we've got this extra space, because 4,000 items, you have what, 5,000? Mm-hmm. So 4,000 items, it's got to go somewhere. And unless we're going to go rent an even bigger storage unit, it's like we have the space right here. So guess what? That's what's going to happen.
All right, Kristen, come on out, my friend, and you can help me build some shelves in the soon to not be dining room.
Yeah, there you go.
But you're welcome to come out here anytime. I wouldn't even need you to put you to work, but you offered, so
yeah,
I will put you to work.
But it's gonna be great, because you're gonna have 4,000 listings that are in list perfectly, and you basically, your plan is you're gonna do like maybe 25 to 30 of them a day, 7 days a week. Like, they're already there. You're not gonna rephotograph anything.
I'm not gonna need to rephotograph or do anything at all.
For the most part, you're gonna be pricing stuff to move. And because it's like, the more you can sell, the better it is for you, the better it is for the Fearless Living Foundation. It's like what is a dining room? And then and her big thing was like, we have this really amazing bicycle bar, and she's like, we don't have anywhere else to put it. And I'm like, well, if we moved into this house and this room didn't exist, we would have found a different spot for it. So it's just about reconfiguring things, and we're going to be able to do it. But what?
Yeah, I have a beautiful custom dining room that I'll be selling.
Table, you mean? Dining set.
Table and server.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kristen says dining room? You mean the room with the craft table? What's a dining room?
So the big thing about it is going to be figuring out how best to, because it doesn't have doors. It's like a dining room, so it's just an archway. So
we're just
figuring
gonna
out
get
how,
curtains.
yeah, but in a way that like it actually looks good. Which I think that the gold curtains we have in front of the shipping room looks fine.
Mm-hmm. We don't use our dining room because we have the space. First of all, we have 4 stools at our kitchen counter, but then we also have a table that holds 8 in the kitchen as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty big table.
So even when we entertain, no one is ever in the dining room. I've literally sat at that dining room table maybe twice in 3 years that we've lived here. And I've had the table for a long time, don't get me wrong. We had it in our last house too.
And we used it more in our last house, because in our last house, first of all,
We didn't have a kitchen table.
Our dining room wasn't a separate room. It kind of was together with the formal living room. But it also, all we had was a little table in the kitchen area, and we didn't have as much room at the bar. So that really was where you had to sit if you had anybody over for a meal or whatever. But yeah, it's like you gotta think about this stuff, and like what is really worth, yeah. Yes, Jen, you can still come for dinner.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so there's a lot of stuff coming up. And so basically, yeah, so for me, through the remix, I'm just going to focus minimum 5 a day. It's not going to be forever, but as soon as the remix is over, I want to really get straight back into my business and really focus on those daily listings, because 10 is hard to maintain 7 days a week. But when I don't have a bunch of other stuff that I'm having to juggle at the same time, it's not as difficult. And then when you leave, I mean, you're going to be gone for probably a minimum of 10 days. I'd say more likely 2 weeks, because you're going to have to be like loading everything up and seeing everybody what's happening over here.
I'm trying to figure out how many days of listings I'd have. So basically,
if you did 30, yeah.
If I did 30 a day out of those 4,000, making 30 live a day, it would be 133 days of listing in a row. and I would not need to buy any inventory. So I won't be sourcing for a long time. I have to source between now and then because all I have is swimsuits. But
You'll probably source occasionally when you just for fun and
I'll do it for fun.
opportunities come
But
up.
basically, I won't be sourcing, and I also will not be using my lister. I'm going to not lay her off. She has a job. This is a part-time side gig for her, but I won't be using my lister for several months because I won't be sourcing. So I'll be saving money on sourcing, saving money on my lister, which obviously helps with, with the bottom line for what, 5 or 6 months at least of this year.
I mean, there's definitely an output to begin with. Like, it's going to cost you between $2,000 and $3,000 because of the truck and the gas. Because I'm going to be staying home, I am a little sad. I'm going to be missing out on the road trip, but it just it makes way more sense for me to stay here and do keep the shipping up, watch the dogs. It's cheaper. It keeps your business going better, my business going better.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little peace of mind for you.
Yeah, driving cross country with a U-Haul, even a small-ish U-Haul, is a $2,000 before you even talk about gas.
Yeah. So it's going to cost you a chunk of money up front, but I think you're going to see some relatively quick results from it just because you're going to be listing steadily 7 days a week, 25, 30 items a day.
And did I mention that I have no idea what the inventory is?
Yes, there's that.
I have no idea. I know that she sold hard goods and clothing. So I know that there's both of those things. I don't know exactly what the pieces are.
I know there's some vintage because Trish had said something about vintage clothing. So we don't know. Oh, Kristen wants a fit check, or what's?
I mean, I already posted the picture and
Just
I showed my little
show it
fit
again.
check.
Show it again. Show it again.
My cute little overalls.
Look how cute she is, you guys.
It's my little 80s coveralls. I love them.
Yeah, it's very exciting that I think last night we were just about to go to sleep, and I said, "Don't you just love it that you can just put on your vintage inventory? Aren't you just so excited that you can wear it now?" And she was doing this.
I am. I'm still trying to figure out how to dress this body. It's different for me. I have a very small closet, and I don't have I have a big closet with a very small amount of clothing left in it that fits me. So I kind of look through my stuff when I'm, putting inventory away, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. Let me try that on. Maybe that'll fit me.
Yeah. It's much easier for me. I just moved down in sizes of t-shirts.
Yeah. She'll go from a medium-sized t-shirt to a small t-shirt.
Well, I mean, I wasn't so good on when I started losing weight. I was more in the large, and there were a couple of extra large t-shirts that I was wearing. I couldn't even wear my mediums anymore. But now I'm down to a small t-shirt. But yeah, it does make it a lot easier. Although I just ordered a pair of plaid pants. I really wanted some plaid pants. So I'm doing some more fun stuff stylistically. So.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to figure out what to wear. I was talking to Pam earlier today because she has these amazing bell-bottom pants that she got from an estate sale. And they're all these really funky handmade velvet ones. And she's like, they're super tiny. And she said the waist measurement. I was like, oh, I could wear those now. Which is really weird. But I wouldn't. It's not I couldn't pull it off. There's certain things I can't pull off.
Yeah, I don't think you should be doing the bell bottoms.
No, I don't think I can do that. There's certain things I just can't wear. But I don't know what I can wear, so I'm still trying to figure that out. It's weird.
Oh, down 27 pounds.
Look at you, Susie Q.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is interesting how much lighter you feel and stuff like that. I was just thinking earlier today, because I've lost about 65 pounds now, which seems weird, because then when I think about it, I'm like, so last year I was just walking around carrying, have you ever tried to pick up something that weighs 40 or 50 pounds and I'm like, I was just walking around with that on my frame, just walking around, I was having to carry that around with me. And
yeah, you've lost 65. I've lost 60. That's a lot. That's a person. Mm-hmm. That's a person that weighs more than my daughter does. My 32-year-old daughter weighs about 105 pounds soaking wet. That's more.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah. But yeah, all right, well, let's wrap it up here. Let's wrap it up, guys. But we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us again on this Sunday afternoon, early evening, wherever you might be. We really appreciate you, and we hope you have a fantastic week. And remember, we're taking control in 2025. So just remember, try not to feel helpless or hopeless. No matter what, you always have control over how you respond to things and the choices that you make. So don't let the world get you down and make you feel like you don't have any say.
Katie's very good at that. She's very good at being more positive. I'm a negative Nelly, and I'm a catastrophizer. That's just who I am.
I can still think things are terrible.
I'm also I'm very much an empath and an empathetic person, or what they call a highly sensitive person. I know it sounds like hooey, but the reality is that it's very, very true. I am very impacted by other people's emotions and things happening in the world. It very much drains on my personality and my energy. And things are a little ugly right now. So
they are. But I just refuse to give up hope. I will.
She's better at it than me.
And even if I think like, you know what, I do think things are probably going to get a lot worse, but eventually they are going to get better. That's how I feel about things. And again, I only have control over myself, and so I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to put my energy into things that matter and the people I care about. And so we love all you guys. Thank you so much for always supporting us and being here with us. Like I said, we always appreciate you, and we hope you have an amazing week.
And get your remix tickets if you haven't yet, because we can't wait to see you guys in a few weeks.
Let's party in Vegas. Come on. All right. Bye.